I just saw Ireland yesterday. I booked a couple tickets for me and a friend of mine to see it. And I thought that I would put out my thoughts on how I felt about the movie and how big of a change this is for the filmmaking industry, I'd say. Ireland is, for those that don't know, film adaptation of the video game Ireland. Markiplier did a Let's Play on it about 2022. I didn't really keep up much with Markiplier playing that game at the time, nor have I been familiar with any, if at all, of the lore surrounding the game. Watching this film was like me pretty much diving into a whole new territory. Part interest, in watching this movie was because of the fact that Markiplier was behind most of the process of this film. I've watched Markiplier for a good amount of years. I'm not necessarily, you could say, a super fan of him, but I have been subscribed to him for about 10 years at this point, 10 or 11, and I've watched his videos a great amount of times years back. And I'm someone that's very into movies. You could call me a cinephile, as you will. David Fincher, Paul Thomas Anderson, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino. With those two interests in mind, this was why Iron Lung captured my attention, especially considering the fact that Markiplier funded this all by himself. He directed this, written this, edited this, and funded this all by him. No studio, no distribution. A lot of Hollywood, or the film industry, kind of pushed back against this film being pushed out, into theaters. For Markiplier to be able to have put this out there and have pretty much made it something that people have been able to just tune in, and all of a sudden it started to be distributed to all these small theaters. The theater that I went to is a theater that is next to my college, and I got to be able to watch Iron Lung in that theater. I really do have to give it to him. He was able to kind of do something that not a lot of filmmakers are able to do or have really thought to do. Being able to entirely depend on himself making this film, obviously with a small crew, but just him, for the most part, carrying this idea on his back, and then for him to be able to do all of the distribution himself, reaching out to a bunch of small theaters, being able to, put this out there for the world to see overall. This is a big precedent for future filmmakers. It shows to a lot of filmmakers that you don't necessarily have to depend on studios, distributors, really anything that's outside of your control to be able to be successful in putting your films out there. If you are passionate about making films and you have an audience that you build up throughout time, whether it's months, years, decades, that's gonna make such a huge difference. I think this might make a shift into what Hollywood will start doing. It's not immediate, and it was on the box office twice from what I remember, but hence that it was on there twice because the box office removed it. So I think that kind of shows you that Hollywood isn't, I guess, really ready for the change yet, but they are looking and they are seeing what's going on. And I think that it already does kind of show that, what Markiplier is doing in his film and this whole premise of an indie film getting into the box office and doing numbers as it did, like it or hate it, but that's impressive. And I think that, obviously studios aren't going to pay a crazy amount of attention right now to this, but they're seeing this, and I think that this is going to cause an effect in how the film industry goes about filmmaking and how indie filmmakers might start doing their films. So I think that overall, really have to give Markiplier for that, and as someone that does care about movies and films a lot, I really think that this is really hopeful, for me as someone that wants to kind of get more into the filmmaking industry. I really do want to see, more stuff like this happen, and more, you know, content creators, upcoming filmmakers, future filmmakers to take more actions like this, to take the unprecedented route, the abnormal path, as you will, because that is what we're probably going to get in the film industry moving forward. So I think it's pretty sick, and shout out to Markiplier for showing his odds. I'm gonna come out with a review of Arlong, why I thought was good about the film and what I thought wasn't good about the film, tomorrow. I'll put out a review sometime tomorrow. I recorded a review of this during the recording of what I just edited, but I'm gonna probably try to retake it because I did run on a lot in that video, and I want to put out a more structured format for a video. So expect something tomorrow.